kind of work were you doing for your clients?
I was doing marketing. So I was helping them with build websites, social media, email newsletter. And I had been doing that for 26 years, I guess, at that point. So yeah, I mean, I had the skills to do what I wanted to do. And I was like, I can build my website, I can do the SEO, I can do all these things. So that's what I did. And in a way, I was like, I want to prove that I still know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm in my early 50s. Everyone's like, oh, you don't need people to build your website anymore. You know, kids should be doing that. Like, you know, all the things. And so part of it was like chip on my shoulder. And part of it was, this is a lot of fun kind of thing. And there were things that I was like, oh, old dog, new trick. I got to figure this out. And
Yeah, because technology is changing at a crazy pace, right?
yeah, I knew the processes. It was just a lot of new tools. GarageBand, learning GarageBand for podcast editing was like new now. And people are like, you should be using this now. I'm like, listen, I have my process.
Like, I have my system.
That's how it works.
Don't mess with my system.
I know.
Oh, I feel that. I have shifted. When I first started the podcast, I was editing on GarageBand. And finally, I was like, you know, something's got to give because I'm still operating as a photographer too. So I need to be able to balance doing the podcast and doing the photography. So we're going to take on a new expense. And so I got Descript, but it's a learning process. Every time you change something, it's like, oh, you know, you spend like a day or two or a week learning the tech and I would just, my brain would be crispy. But on the upside of it, I will say that learning new processes, learning technology, that it does not come naturally to me at all. I'm not a techie girl, but it is really good for our brains to learn
True.
new processes, to create new pathways, you know. So I'd be reminding myself, this is really good for you, Yvonne.
You got this.
Has being in your 50s changed the way you trust your voice creatively and your creativity?
That's such a good question. And if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have had a different answer, and I'll explain.
Oh, please. Yeah, so that's juicy.
So it was, for a while, I was like, I don't know where I sort of fall in this thing. And I think I sort of came down on content creator, but I didn't know if I fit in or if what I was talking about made sense. You know what I mean? Because you talk into a microphone, you post things up, and you don't get a lot of feedback back usually.
I feel you, sister. If you're listening right now, send me an email.
Like, please,
What do you think?
find me on social and give me a comment.
Exactly. So you're putting stuff out into the void.
Right. So there was a travel show down in DC, and you could apply for media credentials. I'm like, you know what? We're available that weekend. Why not? I'll try.
All right.
And I got the content creator credentials. So went down and had the little badge, said content creator. I was feeling very, very special, but I did not fit in. I did not feel like I fit in with the rest of the influencers and content creators there.
Tell me more about that, because I feel you on so many levels, but tell me more about why you didn't feel like you fit in.
A lot of it was imposter syndrome. In my mind, I was like, do I belong here? I'm not traveling around. I don't have thousands of, or even hundreds of followers. It's one of those like, am I legit? Like, do I know what I'm talking about? Will anyone get my niche? And so being at that show was very, I don't want to make it as big as transformational, but it really helped me realize I do belong. Like, I belong in those rooms. Earlier in my career, I always felt like I belonged in the room because I knew I believed in what I was doing. But we're down and people are doing their selfies and they want to be in the Jamaica booth and all the other like cruise lines and all the fancy Caribbean ones, all the influencers are going to. And I'm running to the Pigeon Forge, Dollywood. booth to have a conversation about there's like this crazy Jurassic boat ride they have in Pigeon Forge. But I've realized talking to people, having the podcast really puts you in a different frame of mind with a lot of the tourism groups that I talk to, because I'm not a trained journalist. I'm a trained marketer, but I take more of a journalistic view. If a museum comes on my podcast, I don't charge them to be there. If they would want to buy advertising to be a sponsor for all, that's fine. But I always led with like, hey, I would love to have you on here to talk about this, because I had done my research. I knew what I wanted to talk to every group about. And just the feedback was so positive. And so now I feel like I do belong here. I'm a little different. I'm doing my things my own way. So yeah, it's one of those things I feel now more comfortable, but I needed that sort of face-to-face assurance. I think still, I don't think, care what age you are, if someone goes, oh, that's interesting about what you're talking about, that feels good, you know?